Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the City of Oxnard Planning Commission for Thursday, August 15, 2024. This meeting will come to order at 6 p.m. The public may view the meeting from home on the city's website, Spectrum Channel 10, Frontier Channel 35, or on the city's YouTube website. To participate in the meeting, the public may provide comments to the Planning Commission via email at planning@oxnard.org no later than 3 p.m. on the day of the meeting, or through the city's website, or call the Planning Division office at 805-385-7878. Additionally, those wishing to speak can dial the phone number listed at the bottom of the screen, follow the instructions to access the meeting, and press star 9 to raise your hand indicating your intention to speak on the agenda item being discussed. Madam Secretary, can we have the roll call, please?
Chair Arejo.
Present.
Vice Chair Dr. Stewart.
Present.
Commissioner Lopez.
Here.
Commissioner Nash.
Present.
Commissioner Zielsdorf.
Present.
Commissioner Scholke.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. We will now move on to the Pledge of Allegiance. I'll lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand up if able to. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all very much. The next agenda item is C, public comments on items not on the agenda. At this time, a person may address the Planning Commission on matters within the jurisdiction of the Planning Commission, including information consent items and any time not appearing on the agenda. The Planning Commission cannot take action on any item presented during public comments that is not on the agenda, and such item may only be referred to the Commission Secretary. Persons wishing to speak on public hearing items should do so at the time of the public hearing. Madam Secretary, are there any public comments for items not on the agenda?
Yes, Chair.
Thank you very much. We'll go with those who submitted a speaker card. Mr. Tony Rondinella or Rondinella, please come. You have 3 minutes. Thank you, sir. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. I want to do it. I'm Tony Rondinella. I live at 2110 Peninsula Road in Oxnard. I went to the planning, I called the planning department, told them I wanted to be on a waiting list for a short-term rental permit. They said I was the first on the list and everything should be fine. When the property that currently has a short-term rental permit was sold, at the day and the moment of the transfer, I was at the planning department wanting to fill out in person a permit. They said, don't worry, go home. I know you can do it online. So I went home, did it online, and then I brought in some paperwork to help with it, and the gentleman said, we have a problem. There was a gentleman who wanted to be on the waiting list, but didn't make it on the waiting list. So we have to take this to our boss. And okay, so he said he wanted to be on it before you did, but he was never put on the list. I gave them a email from one of my neighbors who in 2022 asked to be put on any kind of list possible. She wanted to make sure that she was first in line to get a short-term rental permit 2 years previously. Then I was told that my permit would not be granted because the gentleman who wanted to get a permit couldn't use the online apparatus. It didn't work for him. But he tried to do it before I did. My permit, I paid for, the check was cash and all of that. Then I was told because he wanted to do it but wasn't able to do it, he's going to get it. I want to find out, you can find out for me, how did this happen and why am I in this situation? Secondly, we have had problems with short-term rentals in the neighborhood. There were 5 catastrophic events that happened. They were reported and all of that, went through all the channels and never had any disciplinary action for them. They continued until the day of the close of escrow. They were still renting out the property. What happened? The property was 2100 North Peninsula Road, my neighbor. And I wonder, can anybody tell me what happened and why, and why didn't I get the permit?
Thank you, sir. Your time is up.
Okay.
Staff has noted your comments. Unfortunately, we can't respond as a board right now at this time, but staff has noted your comments. Thank you,
Okay.
sir. Madam Secretary, is there any more speaker cards for this item?
No, Chair.
Thank you, and seeing none online, we'll move on to the consent agenda, and with none listed, we'll move forward to ex parte declarations for public hearing items. Please state any ex parte declarations. I'll move across the dais. Commissioner Zielsdorf.
Yes, Chair, thank you. I recuse myself from the Taqueria Cuernavaca Alcohol Special Permit Project due to conflict of interest. The applicant's location is less than 500 square feet away from my place of employment.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Zielsdorf. Commissioner Nash.
None, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Dr. Lopez.
None, thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Dr. Stewart.
None, thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Schulke.
None, thank you.
Thank you, and none for myself. And now we'll move on to Section F, and at this time, we'll request that Commissioner Zielsdorf recuse herself for this agenda item. Thank you very much. Per Measure M, a staff presentation has been pre-recorded and the link has been posted to YouTube. Per previously approved standing rules, staff can provide a brief summary of the pre-recorded presentation in addition to another analysis at this time. Staff. Oh, and I apologize. I'll read the description before us. F1, Taqueria Cuernavaca Alcohol Special Use Permit, Planning and Zoning Permit number 23-510-05, located at 1801 East Ventura Boulevard, APN 144-0-144-235. Staff, if you have any comments at this time.
Yes. Good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, and fellow planning commissioners. My name is Rogelio Solis. This is a request for a new alcohol permit type 41 to allow for beer and wine sales at an existing restaurant, Taqueria Cuernavaca, located at 1801 East Ventura Boulevard. The proposed hours of sales are from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday and 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Sunday. Prior to this meeting, staff received 2 questions regarding the project. The first being in regards to the definition for undue concentration and if it accounted for entertainment districts with multiple restaurants, nightclubs, and other adult-oriented businesses. The City Council Resolution number 11,896 doesn't necessarily specify, nor does it imply that entertainment districts with multiple restaurants, nightclubs, and other adult-oriented businesses are accounted for when determining undue concentration. The second question was whether undue concentration should still be considered as the project site is not located within a residential community. While it is true that the project site is not located in, nor is it near a residential neighborhood, undue concentration should still be considered. Undue concentration is particularly concerned with the reported crime in the area in relation to the citywide crime rate, as well as the ratio of on-sale retail licenses to population in the census tract in which the applicant premises are located exceeds the ratio of on-sale retail licenses to population in the county in which the applicant premises is located. That being said, residential communities aren't the basis for the consideration of undue concentration. Based on the crime statistics up for the area, the assessment from the beat coordinator, and the input from the community, there is no significant reason to oppose this application. Under the recommended operating conditions, it is believed that the service of alcoholic beverages at this business will have little, if any, adverse impact on the community or policing services. Staff is available for any further questions, and we also have our coordinator, Scott Swenson, on the line to answer any additional questions as well. The applicant, Joaquin Solorzano, is in attendance here today, though he does not have a presentation for the Planning Commission. Thank you.
Thank you. Noted that staff said that the applicant does not have a presentation, and so if I am mistaken on that and they want to change their mind, seeing no objection, at this time, members may ask question of either the applicant or staff. Vice Chair Dr. Stewart.
Yes, I looked through the packet and really didn't have a whole lot of trouble with it, but I had one area I didn't really understand, and that is that this is a alcohol permit for type 41, and it says the location and the patio. But what I was trying to figure out is there wasn't a whole lot of information on how that worked. In other words, the way it looked to me was that there was the restaurant and then the patio was separated by some kind of a sidewalk. Did I get that wrong? And so my question is there a way to go from the restaurant to the patio? Or is the patio not an area where alcohol can be served? Or is there an exit out of the patio where now we have open container kind of a situation? So I'm just trying to wrap my head around how that all works.
Commissioners, this is Scott Swenson. I can address that question. The patio and the walkway adjacent to it is part of the lease space for the business, so it wouldn't be going into a public space.
Okay. I guess my concern still is how is that controlled? So if we're crossing through a public space, is the alcohol allowed in that public space, or is that no?
No, they're not passing into a public space. That
Oh,
sidewalk
not. Okay.
that you mentioned is part of the lease space.
And it's closed off from anybody walking in from the outside into there without going through the restaurant?
No, it's not closed off. It's got a north access and a south access. The patio is surrounded by a raised planter and landscaping features.
Okay. And I guess just don't mean to dig in so deep, but so can I walk on from the street and walk into that walkway and then get into the patio without having gone through the restaurant? Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes, you can.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Dr. Stewart. Any others from the commission? Commissioner Schulke.
Yeah, I have a question for staff. I noticed in the briefing materials, which again, I appreciated receiving, that the sales occur from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., but that doesn't overlap with the actual hours of operation. And I was just curious as to why would alcohol sales begin, say, at 7 a.m., although the hours of operation begin several hours later?
Commissioner Schulke, I can answer that question.
Thank you.
When we have a permit situation like this where it's a tenant space, we oftentimes extend the hours beyond what the current business's operation hours are. In the event that a new tenant comes in, they will not have to go through the process to just extend the hours to cover a morning. For instance, some businesses like to serve alcohol with breakfast meals. If this was taken over by a business that wanted to do that, it would be permitted under this permit.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Schulke. Any others from the commission? Vice Chair Dr. Stewart, would you like another go?
Yes. For the patio and the restaurant, are there cameras on just the patio so that somebody from the restaurant is controlling that space to make sure that nobody is able to get into the patio or tries to get in there or bring alcohol in and out of there?
Mr. Stewart, Dr. Stewart, part of our camera plan will include sites or views by camera for any part of the sales area of the restaurant, including the patio.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Dr. Stewart. If there's no other questions from the commission at this time, we will now move on to public comment. Madam Secretary, is there any public comment other than those submitted just now?
For a different item.
Okay, thank you, Madam Secretary. We'll move on to the submitted speaker card. Ms. Pat Brown, you have 3 minutes.
Many years ago, I would say back in the late 1990s, the city of Oxnard was having a terrible problem with alcohol beverage stolen from the drugstores. They'd have a tree made out of cans and bottles of alcohol, and it was just inside the door, so people could just walk in the door, grab it, and run out. Well, we got that problem solved, but we were meeting once or twice a month, depending on what problems that the city was having with the alcohol distribution in the wrong place at the wrong time. What we finally decided on the patio situation was one of the restaurants here up on the north side, they had a big patio out in front and a little fence that was right alongside of it. And you could reach over the little fence, because the little fence was maybe 2.5 feet tall, maybe 3 feet max, and they could just reach right over that, walking by, kids, walking by and grabbing the alcohol from the table that was within grabbing distance of the fence. So the fence needs to be way back from the table, not where the kids can and young people can grab at it. The second problem for this same thing was that we had to go to the bars and the grocery stores, anywhere where they were selling liquor, and watch outside and inside as to what was happening. And if somebody was taking a bottle out that was not sealed up, we were to control that. We had lots, and we were all in different groups at different places at exactly the same time, with maybe 1 or 2 people in each group. So you couldn't get away without seeing us. And we were just regular members of the city. We weren't anything special, but we did meet with a police officer quite often, and more often if he had more complaints and more problems for us to solve. But this went on for a few years, not just a couple of months. This thing went on and on and on. And finally, we got it so that we didn't have to be there. The restaurants and the
Ms.
bars
Brown,
were
your time
looking
has
for
ended.
us, and so they didn't do anything wrong after that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. With no other speakers for this item, we will now go to the applicant if they wish to respond to public comment. Seeing none, we'll go on to closing remarks from staff. And with no closing remarks from staff, I declare the public hearing is now closed, and we'll move on to deliberation. Commission. Vice Chair Dr. Seward.
Yes, I remember when Pat Brown is talking about, I believe RAPAC used to in the 90s go to the different areas, assist Cliff Ware, who was the police department's alcohol responsible officer. I'm not exactly sure what his title was with the alcohol. And some of that kind of thinking is just kind of what troubles me a little bit about the patio and the control of the patio and the control of alcohol. So I'm not sure yet, how that can be controlled a little bit better, perhaps, or a little bit tighter. Not sure what to do with that, but it does trouble me.
Thank you, Vice Chair Dr. Stewart. Any others from the commission at this time? Commissioner Nash.
Thank you, Chair. So I think that because this project is not in a recognized neighborhood, and because hopefully at some point this will be an actual entertainment-oriented district, that might be a ways away, I'm certainly ready to support this. I did have a problem with the designation of undue concentration of alcohol outlets in this area, because it doesn't seem to be really nuanced. I was given an explanation by staff, and I appreciate that. But I think that we need to recognize this SUP at this site for what it is, and I'm certainly ready to support it. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Commissioner Nash. Any others from the commission? Seeing and hearing none, a motion is in order. Commissioner Dr. Lopez.
I'll go ahead and motion staff recommendation to find the project to be categorically exempt from CEQA guideline section 15301 and adopt resolution 2024-XX approving planning and zoning permit number 23-510-05, special use permit, alcohol subject to certain findings and conditions.
Thank you. It has been moved by Commissioner Dr. Lopez.
Second from Nash.
To move the recommended action and seconded by Commissioner Nash. Is there any other deliberation on the motion before us? Seeing and hearing none, Madam Secretary, can we have the roll call, please?
Dr. Lopez.
Aye.
Commissioner Nash.
Aye.
Commissioner Schuelke.
Aye.
Vice Chair Dr. Stewart.
No.
Chair Arejo.
Aye.
This motion passes.
Thank you. And before we go on from this agenda item, I'm going to ask Mr. Solis to introduce ourselves again for some of us. I think this is your first time, at least for me. If you could just introduce and reintroduce yourselves in your new capacity. Thank you.
Of course, Chair. Again, my name is Rogelio Solis. I am an assistant planner with the planning division here in the city of Oxnard.
Thank you very much. And I alluded to reintroducing because he used to be Mr. Secretary, I believe last year or the year before. So thank you very much for coming to us again and that we didn't scare you. So we'll stand at ease as Commissioner Zilsdorf makes her way onto the dais. Thank you, Mr. Pearson, for getting Commissioner Zilsdorf, and welcome back, Commissioner Zilsdorf. We will move on to G, study sessions and reports. First one of two, G1, discussion of development projects in Oxnard. City staff, Serena Gonzalez, Associate Planner. Recommendation that the Planning Commission receive and file this report. Ms. Gonzalez, you have as much time as you may consume.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, members of the Planning Commission. My name is Serena Gonzalez, and I am an associate planner with the City of Oxnard Planning Division. Tonight, I will be providing you with a brief overview of the major development projects that are currently under construction in the city. Please note that the information, sorry, let me pull this closer, being shared is approximate, as these projects are still in development and the timelines are kind of only an estimate. We don't have exact timelines unless things have already been completed. If you have any specific questions about projects, I may be able to sort of answer some of them at this time. However, if not, you are free to pose the questions to planning staff post-meeting. Okay. Here's the presentation. Does this work? Okay, cool. Oxnard is currently experiencing substantial growth. This map here, it shows kind of an overview of where all the projects are located. If you look at the key over in the lower right corner, blue is for residential, green mixed use, purple commercial, orange is industrial, For each of the sections of the presentation, I've also included the map of just those projects. There are approximately 1,631 residential units under construction at this time. They're kind of scattered throughout the city. We have some in the coastal areas, a few in South Oxnard, central, kind of near Oxnard Boulevard, and then up in the north in River Park. Of these units, approximately 631 are for sale. About 1,000 are going to be available for rent. Something exciting is that out of these under construction units, about 43% of them will actually be offered at an affordable rate, which is really great considering the fact that we are in a housing crisis and we are trying to push for more housing. So the first residential project that I'll be talking about is the North Shore at Mandalay Bay, located at Harbor Boulevard and 5th Street. This development consists of 183 single-family residences and 109 detached condominiums. This project also includes open space, common areas, and a public bike and walking path. Currently, grading is underway, and the estimated date of completion is to be determined at this time. The second one is the Edding Road Apartments, located at 2161 East Edding Road. There will be 57 affordable units with 1 manager's unit. This will be designated for farm workers and veterans. Currently, building construction is in progress. This one also has a to-be-determined completion date. Moving on to the F Street condos located at 301 to 321 North F Street. This includes 40 condos with 4 units designated as affordable. The current status is building construction with an estimated completion of winter of this year to spring of next year. Moving on to Lockwood Senior Apartments. This is actually Lockwood 1 and 2. They are both currently under construction. This first slide shows Lockwood 1. This development has 173 active senior apartments. This one also has a community recreation building and pool. It's currently being graded to be in construction. Lockwood 2, also 100% affordable, 168 units for seniors as well. There's a community recreational building. This one, as you can see on the bottom of the screen here, there's a bit of building that is going on. I know that it says grading, but they did put up a few posts and foundation in the last few weeks, maybe month. Number 6 here is Encanto, which is located at 1101 West 2nd Street. This will be 27 single-family detached homes, including 7 affordable units. Building construction is ongoing with a completion date estimated for summer of next year. Number 7 is Cypress Place at Garden City. This is located at 5,482 and 5,536 Cypress Road. It offers units with 1 to 3 bedrooms. The project is currently in the grading and site improvement stage with an estimated completion of October of next year. There's a little bit of information cut off on this one, but I'll be sure to add it. The Casa Aliento, located at 1245 North Oxnard Boulevard, is a conversion of the former Vagabond Inn to 70 units of permanent supportive housing. The current inn is being renovated right now. It's under construction, and it's still up in the air when it'll be finished. The 4 apartments located in River Park at the Landing is on the corner sort of Town Center and Ventura Road. It's going to be pretty much that whole strip of the bottom of the Landing up until it gets to a gas station, which I'll get into later. It's going to be in a location where there will be restaurants and gas station, other amenities right across from the collection as well. This is going to be a 5-story apartment complex with 333 units, featuring a 6-level parking structure and roof deck. They're currently constructing the building, as you can see over in the bottom right corner. The estimated date of completion on this is early 2026. Here is a brief overview of Wagon Wheel. I'll get into the different condos that are being developed, but overall, we have about 1,500 residential units with 50,000 square feet of commercial space, parks, transit areas, and multi-use paths. The first one I'll be talking about is the Oxnard Flats. This is 96 condos and it is now complete. This is an aerial image from Google of what the condos look like. It's a little difficult back there because it's kind of congested to be taking pictures, but I figured this gave the best view of it. But yeah, these are all fully done now. I think that people have probably started to move in. The next one is Park Place, which is 78 townhomes. They're under construction. Some of them have been finished. Some of them are still under construction. And then the Mayfair condos, which is 88 condos, 56 of them have been built. Lot 4 is currently under construction, and Lot 10 is the one that is fully built out. The estimated date of completion for all of the Wagon Wheel projects is still to be determined, as they kind of still getting it all done. Next, moving on to mixed-use projects. We have 2 mixed-use projects that are both located in the downtown area. There will be about 144 residential units, and it will also include about 15,453 square feet of commercial space. The first one being the Navigation Center, which is right outside of where we are right now. It's going to be a 60,194 square foot, 5-story mixed-use building on about half an acre. There will be permanent homeless shelter on the ground floor, and then the upper floors will consist of, 88, oh, reading the wrong one. 56 affordable supportive housing units. Building construction is underway, and we are expecting it to be completed next summer. Central Terrace, located at 217 to 235 East 6th Street, is a 5-story podium-style apartment building with 88 affordable units and 2,300 square feet of commercial space on the ground floor. This project is actually now complete as of last month. Moving on to commercial projects, we have about 270,000 square feet of commercial space across the city being built right now. If you look at the map on the left, it shows overall where they are. They're kind of concentrated up in North Oxnard. So on the bottom right, I provided a close-up so you can see sort of how there are about 4 over in the landing that will be mentioned, I think maybe 5, and then there are some sort of further down if you follow the 101, and then there's one trailing off at the end. The first one is the U-Haul of North Oxnard, located at 2420 North Oxnard Boulevard. This development includes 5,341 square feet of retail space and 201,796 square feet of mini warehouse space. It's partially constructed. The remainder is ongoing. They've done some site improvements. Next. The next one is a True Hotel by Hilton, a 5-story, 44,370 square foot hotel with 88 rooms. It's currently under construction at 180 West Esplanade Avenue, right over next to, I believe it's Gold's Gym. It has an expected completion date of summer 2025. We have quite a few Starbucks that are currently being developed in the city. The ones that are currently under construction are one at 2551 East Vineyard Ave. This is a 2,450 square foot conversion of an existing Wendy's, expected to be completed late fall of this year. The next Starbucks will be on Ventura Boulevard, which will actually be adjacent to a new In-N-Out that is also coming, which I'll talk about. This one is a 1,800 square foot Starbucks with a drive-through, and it is currently under construction. The next is the In-N-Out on Ventura Boulevard, which is 3,885 square foot In-N-Out with 74 parking spaces and is currently under construction. It's estimated that it'll be complete likely by the end of the year, early next year. Next, and then we have I guess I mixed around the Starbuckses, but there's also a Starbucks on Ives Avenue that has recently been completed. There was an existing event center that had been demolished, and they in place put a 983 square foot coffee cafe with a drive-through. You can't go into it. It's just one of the walk-up windows with a drive-through around it. It's complete, open for business. Next is an undetermined fast food restaurant next to the Ives Starbucks. We're not sure exactly what'll go in. I think it's still up for discussion. This is going to be a 2,533 square foot fast food restaurant with drive-through. There have been some site improvements that have been done. You can see it's kind of just a flat lot of dirt at this point, but yeah, the estimated completion is still to be determined. Next, moving into the landing. This development includes several different pieces that are under construction, some that have opened. We have Chick-fil-A open for business. Panda Express is also open for business. And then there is a multi-tenant building that will also be opening pretty soon that has a Handel's Ice Cream and Starbucks that will be in it. The first one that I'll be talking about in the landing is the gas station and convenience store. This is a 3,442 square foot gas station with a convenience building that also has a car wash associated with it. It's expected to be completed around the end of fall, winter of this year. The next is the multi-tenant commercial building I was just mentioning. Sorry. This development, like I was saying, consists of an ice cream shop and a Starbucks. There may be some other tenants, but they haven't been determined yet. We also have a Shake Shack coming, which will be a 3,470 square foot restaurant with a 760 square foot outdoor patio and a double lane drive-through. This one was also still to be determined, although they are putting it up pretty fast. I actually went by it one day, didn't really see much, and the next day, the whole second floor kind of parapet area right there was already up. As I mentioned, the Chick-fil-A has already been completed. It's been open for business almost about a year now. It's a 2,707 square foot restaurant with a partially covered outdoor patio. This one has a double lane drive-through with queuing for 26 vehicles. Also in the landing, there are two 4-story hotels, both with 120 rooms. The Town Place Suites is a little further along in construction than the Spring Hill Suites are. They're both expected to be done next year and then probably the year after. Moving on to industrial projects, there's currently 2.3 million square feet of industrial space being constructed. We have one up in Sakyogo Farms, where you can see up in the north on the top right side of the map. And then we have the port project down the bottom of the map there. The first one being the 101 Logistics Center at the Sakyogo Farms Business Park. This is going to be 4 warehouse buildings totaling just under 800,000 square feet. They're currently grading. Not a ton has been done, but we also don't know when exactly they'll be finished with that. And then port vehicle storage, Renemi Road and Perkins Road. It is 34 acres dedicated for the storage of just under 5,000 vehicles. They are currently grading, and this one is also to be determined when it will be complete. And with that, that is the end of my presentation. Sorry, lost my train of thought. If anybody has any specific questions about these projects, you can reach out to the Planning Division and we'll be happy to answer anything. If you have any quick questions that maybe I can answer, I'm here for questions as well.
Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez, for that very thorough, detailed presentation. I think we're all, at least for me in particular, like to see, since we deal with a lot of the long term, we never get to see some of the fruition of the project. So it's really great to see those in completion and those that are basically completed. So greatly appreciate that. At this time, I'll go to the commission if they have any questions for Ms. Gonzalez. Commissioner Nash.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you so much for this report. I posted this onto the Facebook site Citizens for a Better Oxnard, and it received a ton of engagement. So people were really happy to see how these projects are proceeding within, their city. So thank you for that. I think that these projects are so great and they reflect so well upon the city that I'm just, I'm overjoyed. From the Central Terrace, which has that great art glass mural of our dear Carmen Ramirez, and I urge everybody to go over there and check it out. It's just fantastic. And that will really lead to a rejuvenation and a renewal of that whole area. So that's fantastic. The Navigation Center right across the street is proceeding, and that will be fantastic too. And I'm so happy that at Lockwood 3, when Mr. Pettit told us that it was going to be an all-electric building with rooftop solar. I mean, these are things that I've been advocating for forever, and to actually see them come to fruition, I'm like, thank you, Oxnard, and thank you, planning, and thank you to the Planning Commission. That's just fantastic. I haven't verified this, but I heard that at Encanto, the developer is allowing the buyers to add an ADU. I think that is great. That again, that is absolutely the path forward. We need obviously a lot of housing if we're ever going to meet our RENA numbers, and ADUs are certainly a great way to achieve that. When I had to laugh because over the landing when the parking structure was being built, I was a little worried. I'm like, what is this monstrosity? This is like going backwards. It was. But then I read an article on it, and it's called the Texas Donut, I believe, which is a funny term, but it won't be as hideous as I thought it was going to be. So again, another great addition. The gas station at the landing, I mean, it, you know, it is what it is. We have to rely upon, you know, these business models to justify some of these projects. So hopefully it'll be, you know, an attractive addition to the landing. And you know, I'm happy to admit that I'm looking forward to trying out the Shake Shack. So, you know, I've read a lot about it, but I've never had it. So let's see what they have to offer. So anyway, thank you so much for this, and you know, congratulations to the city of Oxnard, and you know, it's just a very exciting time. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Commissioner Nass. Any questions or comments from the commission at this time? Commissioner Dr. Lopez.
Just a quick comment and a question. Echoing Commissioner Nash's comments all around, a great presentation. Of note for me, I was happy to see that 43% or approximately 700 units that are currently under construction will be affordable units, with a nice mix of the 631 for sale and 1,000 for rent. So loved seeing that, and completely agree that there's still such a need here and everywhere. So just very much appreciate the presentation. And quick question, I'm happy to follow up afterwards. On the Sakioka, one of the last slides that you just went over, is the area around the proposed project still available, or is that also planned for already?
So Commissioner Dr. Lopez, the area kind of to the north, closer to the freeway, that's still part of the Sakioka like specific plan, but no plans or projects have been approved for those locations at this time.
And those would eventually come to us, correct?
So under that specific plan, most of those projects actually go to the director. So they would only come to the planning commission if it were appealed to the planning commission, or if there were some other permit associated with it that would bring it to the commission.
Great, thank you for that clarification.
Thank you, Commissioner Dr. Lopez. Any others from the commission? A question from me. In general, it appears that there's less development in the west and southern portions of Oxnard. In my opinion, is that, or am I correct that that's due to the lack of vacant land within the limits of the city, because we're not able to annex outside of the city due to curb and SOAR?
So Chair Rejo, in regards to that, yes, we do see most of the development kind of in the northern area, just due to the areas like River Park and Wagon Wheel. There's just a lot more kind of vacant area up there. And in regards to future development down in the southern part of Oxnard, we're assuming at some point that will come along as you see more redevelopment as we kind of run out of that vacant land. But as of right now, yes, that is one of the primary reasons, is that's just where kind of those large kind of development areas, Sakioka, Wagon Wheel, and River Park are all just kind of in that area.
Thank you, Mr. Pearson. If there's no further questions or comments at this time, we'll move on to our submitted speaker card at this time, and then I'll ask the Madam Secretary if there are any that have been submitted since this one. So I'll call on Mr. Nelson Mendez, and you have 3 minutes when you begin. Thank you.
Good evening, Planning Commission. My name is Nelson Mendez, and I'm a resident of Oxnard. I grew up here. I'm a realtor and also just graduated from law school from Pepperdine Law this year, so I'm very glad I took the bar exam and everything. And I'm glad to see all the developments we have in this area. I came today to address the Teal Club Road development that I see is not on today's agenda, but hopefully when it does progress through the Planning Commission, it is looked upon favorably. Personally, I think we need more of this development of this kind, where we annex some of the vacant property that we have around Oxnard to make room for more development. I think Oxnard needs more housing and commercial development to boost our local economy and to stay competitive in the Southern California landscape. I think we do have opportunities to annex in South Oxnard, maybe by Rice Avenue, with some of these vacant agricultural use lands, and in the north side. So I hope that in the future, the Planning Commission continues to look favorably on development and specifically annexing agricultural land that is really close to our city, where I think it's very feasible to try to annex this to increase our economy and stay competitive. I think Oxnard has a lot of room to grow. I see Orange County, I see Los Angeles County, and I see all the wonderful things going on there, right? And like in Inglewood, there's sports teams coming, there's stadiums being built, housing being built. And Ventura County, for the past many decades, have been kind of stagnant, especially with their population and everything. We're growing, but not at the pace I think we can. And I hope that the Planning Commission continues to go favorably with development. I see all the wonderful work you guys are doing, and I really respect that as a resident of this city. So thank you so much, and I hope in the future that development continues to occur, specifically in regards to annexation of land in the nearby Oxnard area. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mendez. Are there any remarks from staff in regards to the questions or public comment?
Chair Rejo, actually, in regards to the comments that we just received and one of the comments that you have made in regards to annexations, as you noted that due to CURB, there are limits on what can be annexed into the city. There are some opportunities, but there are some limitations just due to that existing restrictions that are being placed on that land due to the CURB boundaries. But other than that, that's the only kind of additional comment I wanted to make.
Thank you, Mr. Pearson, and I'll go on to Commission if they have any closing comments that they'd like to make. Seeing none, just for myself, I greatly appreciate the Planning Commission approving the insertion or the submission of this item 6 months ago, I want to say, and I hope that the future chair, at minimum every 2 years, but possibly every year, puts this on the agenda sometime in the year, of course, pending staff availability and agenda space. So thank you very much. We'll move on to agenda item G2. Before we continue on to G2, as the chair, I must provide a statement. As the chair, I must provide impartiality in my duties when presiding for the upcoming agenda item G2. While I believe I can still provide impartiality in regards to presiding, my support of this agenda item as distributed could potentially appear to bias my presiding. And in order to avoid that appearance of bias, I'm relinquishing the chair for just this upcoming agenda item to Vice Chair Dr. Stewart. And so for just this agenda item, you may refer to Vice Chair Dr. Stewart as acting chair, or Vice Chair Dr. Stewart, and myself as Commissioner Araujo to try to avoid any confusion or try to simplify just for this agenda item. Chair Dr. Stewart.
Okay, we'll move on to item G2, project name proposal for stipends for members of the Planning Commission. City staff, Joe Pearson II, Planning and Environmental Services Manager, Ken Rosell, Chief Assistant City Attorney. And the recommendation that the Planning Commission allow the Planning Commission Chair to present their findings and proposals to the Planning Commission and adopt resolution number 2024-XX pertaining to compensation for members of the Planning Commission and consent to the Chair and up to 2 other members as selected by the Chair of the Planning Commission to present the Commission regarding the aforementioned resolution in accordance with Rule 10, restriction on presentations of the rules and procedures of the Planning Commission of the City of Oxnard. So I will go to Mr. Pearson. Anything in regards to this?
So, Chair Dr. Stewart, no comments from staff, so I'll hand it over to Chair Rejo.
Thank you, Mr. Pearson. We'll stand at ease if there's no objection until we get the presentation on view for the public and for us. Thank you very much. So this proposal, this agenda item before you is just a mechanism to formalize and detail a proposal in the form of a resolution to enable the City Council to provide financial remuneration, i.e. a stipend, for services of the members of the Planning Commission. For the record and for the public, Oxnard Planning Commission members do not receive any monetary compensation in contrast to all other planning commissions of Ventura County. Additionally, in comparison to its surrounding county neighbors of Kern County, Santa Barbara, and LA County, Oxnard is in the 20% minority of cities and counties that do not provide stipends to its appointed members. So we'll go on to also the numbers. So just an introduction and context for those in the public, but we on the Planning Commission and on staff know this very well. Every 2 years, half of us are appointed or reappointed by all the city council members and the mayor concurrent with their terms. And again, like I said, the resolution provides an ordinance within it for the city council to possibly review at their time. So just a few numbers and comparisons. We'll start with Ventura County, and just a note that this is just in regards to data that I was able to solicit in the past 2 months from a staff member from the city or the city's Planning Commission, Human Resources Department, or City Clerk. So in regard, and I was able to get 2/3 of all the cities and counties thereof of Santa Barbara, Kern, and Ventura, and half of the cities above 75,000 in LA County. So for planning commissions in Ventura County, as noted and as said before, Oxnard is the only one of the data that we have available that does not receive a stipend per meeting. In Kern County, there is a minority again that do not receive. And in LA County, a bigger minority, but still a minority of cities that do not receive a stipend. And again, in Santa Barbara County. And looking at the 4 counties as if they were just one county or a single region, you can see that in context of everything of our county and our adjacent counties. And if the proposed $150 meeting is passed in the form presented to us as of right now, if we just did a per capita, Oxnard would still be in the lower half and at the bottom in terms of cities per capita, if we'd like to use that formula or context. So it's understandable that what I am proposing and recommending to the City Council in the future might not be encouraged, especially in the view of the public. At the very least, with this, we can dispel the misunderstanding that we are getting stipends of any amount, which even surrounding cities and counties were surprised during my inquiries given the size of Oxnard. Some of us appointed to the Planning Commission knew that we wouldn't receive a stipend, and some of us were a little surprised given the vast majority of cities and counties in and bordering Ventura County. Just on paper, it doesn't seem equitable that the largest city in this county, the 5th largest when combining the 4 counties, is not only below, but at the bottom in regards to this statistic. I get that some or most might have little need for financial remuneration with serving on this body. However, I'm asking you to think of the future who may be wary of the time commitment and public scrutiny. My position specifically as the District 3 selectee filled a spot that was vacant for some time. And it is not insignificant that all of us technically are in our first terms, meaning our current terms were not because of a reappointment, but because of an initial appointment. Every other planning commission in Ventura County has someone who has been reappointed, even multiple times. Oxnard on this planning commission has a gap between 3.5 and 5 years ago in its institutional knowledge. The majority of us, Commissioner Dr. Lopez, Commissioner Connolly, Commissioner Zilstorf, and myself, might very well not be selected for reappointment. And so I'm asking you on the Planning Commission to think not for yourself, but if you think this will lead to a greater variety of applicants. Some quotes that I heard in the future or in the past was that, and I'm paraphrasing, is that our Planning Commission members, even with the work that we do, don't even get enough money for coffee which I guess half of us have here right now on the dais. And it seems that Oxnard is so big, yet there's nothing for all of that time. And so I'm not asking you to vote yes or no to a stipend for the Planning Commission. I'm asking you to allow me and up to 2 other members to propose this to council to lay out why they should take it up in committee, then enough votes to get it to city council, which will then withstand public scrutiny and a chance to get voted on. Let's give the city council an opportunity to act on this resolution and the included ordinance to both encourage the most qualified to become members of the Planning Commission and to retain those qualified members. I'm urging, strongly so, for your vote of approval on the item before us to ensure the success and vitality of the Planning Commission for the future. I thank you and I look forward to your questions, if any, at this time.
All right. Do any of the commissioners have any questions or remarks to make? Okay. For public comments, do we have any cards submitted or anybody for public comments?
No, Dr. Stewart, none.
Okay, I will close the public comments then. I guess that we can move on, and I think it is the purview of the chair to select the other members of your committee.
At this time, Chair Dr. Stewart, I'm going to wait for the approval of the resolution if it's going to still be included. And then at that time, I'll make remarks either right after agenda item or at Planning Commission business. Thank you.
Okay, so the recommended action is adopt resolution number 2024-XX pertaining to compensation for members of the Planning Commission. So I guess I will entertain that motion at this time if there are no other comments or deliberation.
Chair.
Go ahead.
Can I make a comment?
Go ahead.
Thank you, Acting Chair. So thanks to our chairman for bringing this forward. It's funny that the council member who appointed me has always said, you folks need to get paid. My feeling is that it's an honor, an absolute honor for me to sit up here and decide such important issues for the city that I care so deeply about. So the money is really a non-issue for me. And because of that, I would probably abstain from this vote. But I do not want my personal opinion to influence the decisions of my fellow commissioners. So I just wanted to say that, and it's interesting that in other jurisdictions they do pay their planning commissioners. And truth be told, we do a lot of due diligence, unpaid due diligence. So that is absolutely a consideration. So thanks to our chair for presenting this, and I will not make the motion, but.
Yes.
Thank you. I too appreciate the chair's thorough research and presentation. And I too have heard council members remark that the Planning Commission ought to be paid. Were this to be on a ballot and I was just voting at home or at the polling place, I believe I'd be inclined to support it. It is inherently a little awkward to support it as a sitting commissioner. Given the support that the city council has at times articulated for paying the Planning Commission, I wish there were other avenues for this to be taken under consideration by that body, rather than for sitting commissioners to be the ones to bring it to their attention. It seems as though it already has occurred to them. Just offering my thoughts.
Any other statements or questions? Dr. Lopez?
Yeah, just generally, I certainly appreciate the comments thus far. I think for me timely that it was after the last election cycle 2 years ago where a neighboring councilwoman reached out to me inquiring about how much our planning commissioners got paid because they were reviewing theirs and felt that it was a little low given the volume of work that we, that come across our review and our email. And when I said nothing, the reaction, I was caught off guard. I was surprised by the reaction, right? Because I too look at it as a privilege and an honor to serve on the commission. But I'm thinking about even just my situation today, having to pay for childcare just so I could attend, right? And so it's not only a giving of our time and of our preparation in our review, but at times the personal sacrifice that we have to pay to be able to serve. And so just something to consider. I agree with Commissioner Schulke that I wish there was a process or a mechanism under which it could come before their attention more formally, other than conversations. But I would like to see this presentation brought to them for them to consider acting on it or not. And I think it may perhaps begin a larger conversation about perhaps exploring the possibility of council members or mayor transitioning to also becoming perhaps a stipended or paid position. I have to agree that I do recognize what a stipend may do for individuals on the cusp of serving or not serving. And the access that it would probably provide to a more dynamic and diverse group of applicants who would consider, because again, it's perhaps a small stipend versus just a service to add on to personal or familial responsibilities. And so to our Chair Arejo, thank you so much for your time researching your due diligence. Certainly would have liked to have help via committee to divide the labor in the research that went into preparing it. But those are just some of my thoughts. In conclusion, with a previous item unrelated, Commissioner Nash mentioned how it's taken time to reach these certain thresholds in terms of or milestones in terms of planning. In some instances, 20 plus years. We might be on the cusp of changing times here, and certainly with the surplus in which the city finds itself, it could potentially be an investment that they are prepared to make. Again, if this was 8-10 years ago, different financial reality for the city, it would be a much bitter pill for me to swallow. But just given the climate, the financial standing of the city, I would support it being brought forth to the city council for discussion and their consideration. Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair Dr. Stewart. So I'm going to request that Ms. Roselle correct anything that I may misstate. So unfortunately, because this item is not required to go to City Council, at least part of my strategy is that I would go at minimum to the public comment for items not on the agenda for a future City Council and go from there in regards at least to the public facing in regards to this resolution if approved as distributed. I'll just briefly comment on some of the concerns just in regards to the stipends being requested by the current planning commissioners, and that for some cities, they have the option to postpone the stipend by a couple months or even to a later time if they would like. And planning commission members can also refuse their own stipends if they so wish to do so too. And so there are a variety of options in regards to what we can do right now in the proposal, what City Council can do in their committee, and what City Council can do as a body. And so I still urge everyone's support in regards to this resolution. Again, not to vote to approve a stipend for the Planning Commission, but to give the opportunity to City Council, which many of the members in the past or current have suggested would be prudent and logical. Thank you. And at this time, I move the recommended action to adopt resolution number 2024-XX pertaining to compensation for members of the Planning Commission and consent to the chair and up to 2 other members as selected by the chair of the Planning Commission to represent the commission regarding the aforementioned resolution in accordance with Rule 10, restriction on representation of the rules and procedures of the Planning Commission of the City of Oxnard.
And in the spirit of unanimity, I would second the motion.
All right. We have a motion. Oh, do you still need to select the members of the team? Okay.
Chair Dr. Stewart, I'll wait for the resolution to pass before I make
Understood.
comments.
You said that
Thank you.
before. My mistake. Why don't we do a roll call vote on that?
Chair Arejo,
Aye.
Commissioner Nash,
Aye.
Commissioner Dr. Lopez,
Aye.
Commissioner Zielsdorf,
Aye.
Commissioner Schulke,
Abstain.
Vice Chair Dr. Stewart.
Yes.
This motion passes.
All right. Now, you're going to pick your team?
Okay, thank you very much, Chair Dr. Stewart, and I'll get the gavel from you at this time. And in regards to the previously passed resolution, I'm gonna, at this time, request if you would like to be one of the 2 members in order to work in regards to the strategy for putting this forward to the City Council. But I'll make it flexible that you don't have to do it right now. We can do it in the intervening period, and until a future Planning Commission, I can present those. So we can, you can let me know that now publicly or privately until the next Planning Commission, and that's my intention if there's no objection at this time. Thank you very much, and greatly appreciate it. We'll move on to Planning Commission business. Is there any business to report from the Planning Commission? Commission members. Okay, thank you. I would just request your grace in regards to my lengthy Planning Commission business report. First, I'd like to, it's a little bit out of order chronologically, but it at least makes sense in my head. So for the next scheduled meeting for September 5, if it happens, I will unfortunately be absent at this time, and I've let Vice Chair Dr. Stewart know and appreciate that he will take over the chairmanship duties. I will be going to a very exciting, at least for me, National Convention on Parliamentarians, so I'm very much looking forward to that. I really am, so I'm not kidding, so I'm not sarcastic at all. So thank you very much, appreciate it. I'm looking forward to being one of the least knowledgeable in the body of 400 that is planning to attend the convention, and hopefully I can learn more stuff on making the meetings more efficient in this body and in other bodies that I chair. In regards to one of my hats, indirectly related to Planning Commission, very indirectly, currently, I'm the chair of the East Village Neighborhood, and as part of the INCO, which is the Inter-Neighborhood Council Organization, we have decided to approve, again, a City Council candidate forum for the United Water Conservation District's Divisions 4, 5, 6, and 7, which happen to overlap with Oxnard, and all the offices up for vote, which are the mayor, the city clerk, treasurer, council district 3, 4, and 6. And so I will be making a reappearance as the moderator for those that will be happening tentatively on September 30, October 2, and October 9. And so I'm looking forward in regards to moderating those forums on behalf of the INCO. And so I'd also like to appreciate, again, Vice Chair Dr. Stewart for taking over the chairmanship on the last meeting. I just, unfortunately, just for the body to know, I don't know if everyone knows that, unfortunately, my father passed away last month, and so duties in regards to all of those activities related to that had to take precedence. And so I appreciate that I had to miss 2 meetings already, it looks like, in 2 months. I bring that up because, as you know, in my first appointment, and on my election as vice chair and chair, I mentioned my father because he's the reason I was born, raised, lived, and came back from the Midwest, from Oxnard, and it was a really important part of my life, obviously. And so, 4 years ago, I ran for city council, and I thought he knew that I lost. But 3 years ago, I don't know, he's a jokester, so I don't know if he was joking or not. But at one time, he mentioned that, Ron, your city council meeting has gone so well. And when I was elected as chair, he thought that I was the mayor. And so I appreciate the commission members for making me the mayor for my father. And I hope that he is not disappointed that I didn't get elected. And who knows, he may have been looking at the future in regards to us being on city council. So I appreciate that. Thank you for giving me that time to talk about that. And if there's no other updates from the Planning Commission, I'll move on to the community development staff. Mr. Person.
Thank you, Chair. In terms of staff updates, not too much. We do have 2 items going on the September 5th meeting. It appears to be a car wash and a multifamily development down near the Edding Road area. So those 2 items are currently on the agenda. And then also just to introduce Iris Rodriguez, who's over there sitting next to Kristen. She's one of our new employees in the planning division. So she's going to be kind of here maybe for this meeting and maybe one more, just to kind of learn the ropes, and she'll be the backup if Kristen is ever out or goes on vacation. So just wanted to introduce her, and if she wants to say a few words while she's here.
Ms. Rodriguez, if you'd like. If not, we can wait until you're in the secretary's seat also.
I just want to say thank you, and I will wait for the secretary.
Thank you very much. Mr. Pearson, if you have anything else?
Nothing else. Thank you.
Ms. Roselle?
Nothing at this point. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And since there is no further business, the meeting will be adjourned if there is no objection. Seeing and hearing no objection, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you all, and good night.